Hey everyone, welcome to 6 Wins. It's finally here.
It's here.
The best WWE wrestler bracket. We're big wrestling fans, and we're really excited to talk about all these matchups and crown our best WWE superstar right around the time we'll be getting to WrestleMania. So that's going to be really exciting. Anyway, this is Chris. I'm Matt. We're going to talk about the first two matchups that we did in our best WWE superstar bracket. Our two matchups here were between our number 1 seed, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the number 16, Lex Luger. And then the other matchup, you got poses for all of them?
I guess so.
All right, here we go. The other matchup we're talking about, number 8, Roddy Piper. I think he's like a face. Yeah. And then number 9, Bill Goldberg. Nice. All right, but before we talk about our thoughts on how those matchups were going to play out, our own thoughts, I have a ridiculous question that I want to ask you about these 4 wrestlers.
Can't wait.
So, Chris, like we said, the 4 wrestlers we're talking about today, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Lex Luger, Roddy Piper, and Bill Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take these 4 and create your family. I need one to be your dad, one to be your brother, and one to be your uncle. And the other one's just left out. But
okay.
Which wrestler would you choose as your dad? Which would you choose as a brother? And which would you choose as the uncle that comes around a few times a year?
Okay. I'm going to leave Lex Luger out.
Okay.
Sorry, Lex. You were fine. You're a 16 seed. You're not part of this family.
Yeah.
But I want my dad to be Goldberg.
Yeah.
I want my dad to be Goldberg because he's like the T2000 version of Stone Cold, and I think Stone Cold would make a cooler brother.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell someone what to do and be home at a certain time when they're drinking beers and swearing up a storm and cursing at the boss. So I'm going Dad Goldberg, brother Austin, and then you got to have your crazy Uncle Roddy Piper who comes around just to stir the pot.
That might have been too easy. I think those are the exact same 3 I would have picked,
really?
Honestly.
Okay,
yeah.
leaving Lex Luger
But
out.
I think for what I thought of that question because I think just dads in the 90s that had kids that watch wrestling wanted to be Goldberg.
Yeah.
Because he was the superhero, and I saw my dad as Goldberg sometimes. So I just wanted to see how you'd pick on that one. It might be more interesting to do it with some other people later, but thank you for playing.
I like that.
Did you agree with Chris and I? Would Goldberg make the best dad? Would Stone Cold be an uncle or a brother? And is Lex Luger somebody you just don't want in your family? Let us know in the comments. All right, but now we're going to talk about the actual matchups. So let's start with the first one, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Lex Luger. What were your thoughts on this one, or thoughts on any wrestlers that you want to share?
Stone Cold by a landslide. He's just the GOAT, in my opinion. People say the Attitude Era was the best era of wrestling. Say what you will about it. That was the height of its popularity, so numbers don't lie. And Stone Cold was at the forefront of it, you know. And I will never forget the moment. It's my favorite Stone Cold moment. The invasion angle, which wasn't the best. This was the end of the invasion angle. This is the last moment. So anything you think happened after this, pretend it didn't. The WCW and ECW guys are in the ring. They're beating down the WWF guys. And Vince had been asking for the old Stone Cold week after week leading up to this. And they were getting to the invasion pay-per-view. And you see on the Titantron, Austin pulls up on the truck. It's like, oh shit, is he doing the old Stone Cold? And then when that glass shattered, he came out to the ring. That's my favorite pop moment of all time. It's just, they knew he was coming. The glass shattered. JR in commentary made it 10 times better. So Austin all the way. What about you?
Yeah, of course. And Austin has so many moments that I remember watching. I'll hold off on a few of them for later Austin videos because no surprise, Stone Cold Steve Austin did beat Lex Luger.
Moving on.
And I think really The only interesting, not the only interesting, but the most interesting thing that I felt about this matchup and why I think I put Lex Luger here, I think I picked him as the 16 seed. There was a time in WWF when like Hogan was off doing movies, or maybe he was like taking time off, or even went to WCW. But I think he was just taking time off or something, and they were like, "Who's going to be our next guy?"
Yeah.
And they kind of had Luger pegged for it, and he had like a short run with the title, but he just, cardboard. He's just not interesting. He people cheered for him because he was like the American hero, but he didn't have a lot of personality and wasn't Hogan. Of course, nobody's Hogan, but I think that really hurt him, and I think you can almost kind of see the different career trajectories. Like Stone Cold was sort of in that role for a while where he really wasn't connecting. His character wasn't interesting as the ringmaster. Yeah. But Stone Cold was able to take his opportunity and really just connect and be so over it, and Luger just couldn't. And so I think that's why was an interesting matchup. But yes, like we said, Stone Cold advancing, of course, over Lex Luger to the second round, and he's going to play the winner of this matchup, Roddy Piper versus Bill Goldberg. I'll start with my thoughts really quick, and then I'll have you close it. Oh. Man, I did not know how this would go. I know Goldberg has a reputation. Like, he still gets cheered when he comes out, but people that are wrestling fans are like, we're tired of Goldberg. I think you kind of look back on it, and even though like he was put over and like was super popular, are just kind of like, he wasn't as good. It was just like this undefeated streak, but he came in the ring and did like 4 or 5 moves. His matches were like 2 minutes in WCW. There's still 2 minutes now. But man, that Goldberg run was super popular. Like, the only way, like, WCW was keeping up with WWF at the time and Austin's run, because people were like, I want to watch Austin, I want to watch Goldberg. Yeah. It was like a dream match that people wanted to happen. Like, Goldberg was massively over. So I wasn't sure, though, if, like, people are just, like, everybody kind of rips on Goldberg. Ryback does, Bret Hart does, like, a lot of the, like, wrestler guys, the more technical guys, not Ryback, but it'll be like, Goldberg's a terrible wrestler. So I wasn't sure how people would feel on that. If I had to vote, I would probably go Goldberg for the moments. Like, I'm a little bit younger than the Piper generation in his prime. So Roddy Piper had mega moments that would be memorable to people. But Goldberg had so many when I was like in that like 4th grade, 5th grade range. Yeah. So I would probably go Goldberg if we're taking into account the full package of everything they've done. Matches, ability to like carry the company and be a top guy, and just like, he wasn't that great on the mic, but he fired you up. They knew he wasn't, so they let him talk for 10 seconds, and you'd go, oh man, I'm so pumped up. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, cool. Not far off. So I will say Goldberg now, like, he almost gets that like kind of Lesnar, although I'll put Lesnar on a higher kind of plateau than Goldberg. But like Ronda Rousey, their music hits and the crowd knows they're a big deal, so they always get that initial pop. But like, listen to that crowd. It's like the initial, oh shit, Goldberg's here. Oh shit, Rousey's here. And then it takes a minute to sink in, and they're like, oh, Goldberg's here. Like, and I'm not saying he's not a big deal, because I will say when he came back and he did that, we were talking about before we fired up the video, when he did that promo, he's like, maybe I got one more jackhammer in me. Dude, I got super jacked, no pun intended. And then when he had that series of matches with Lesnar, like, I think if you'd have ended on that, I'd have been like, hell yeah, like, what a cool run. Like, because they had that good Mania match. Yeah. I think the big shocker was when, I think it was Survivor Series, maybe SummerSlam. Someone probably knows and is yelling at the screen right now if you're watching. But everyone was just like, oh, they're putting Goldberg there as another person for Lesnar to beat, and then Goldberg kicked his ass. Like, Lesnar was on this white hot streak. Goldberg just came in, is closing out at 50 years old, kicked his ass. So that was cool. But I'm saying we're the same age, 35. So I think I missed the Piper peak. Yeah. But I know, like, when we're talking about wrestlers on the mic, Piper's got to be up there, top 5 talkers. So it's tough for me. I wasn't, like, if we're trying to focus just on WWE, I gotta go Piper all
for
day.
sure.
But and I was always a WWF kid. Like I watched a little WCW, but I wasn't as like into WCW. It was once Raw was on, there wasn't a whole lot of switching over to Nitro for me. So I'm actually going Piper on this one, even though Goldberg, I don't think he has earned all the crap that he takes. Like I talked about Carrot Top. Goldberg is like the Carrot Top of wrestling.
Kind of is.
He's great. So I'm going Piper, but what did the voters say?
Yeah. Did you think this one was going to be close?
Well, it's an 8-9. We did the draft. If you haven't watched the draft, make sure you watch the making of the draft. It's on our YouTube. I did think it was actually going to be pretty close.
I thought so too. It was not.
It was not.
Piper won big.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Piper will go up against Stone Cold, and Stone Cold is Stone Cold, but Piper and Stone Cold have a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
I almost feel like now Piper Stone Cold is going to be closer than Piper Goldberg.
Yeah.
Which, if you told me, might have surprised me. But yeah, so Roddy Piper won pretty big over Goldberg. We won't get that Goldberg Stone Cold dream matchup even in a bracket.
Yeah.
But yeah, so stay tuned for that second round matchup between two of the best talkers of all time.